Hi luxurious queens, it's Lokie here, and today Dani from This Is Dani O and I are going to be doing a fun collaboration, which is stitching our very own dream Birkins. And today you will watch us through the entire process from start to finish, so stay tuned. If you don't know who Dani is, she is such a gorgeous luxury YouTuber as well and has amazing content and a great sense of humor. So be sure to check out her channel after this. I am also itching to find out what she has come up with eventually. I will surely link her channel down below and for your reference. And of course, if you're new here, hello my queens, my name is Lokie and I enjoy luxury handbags. I shop from vintage to pre-loved and brand new and have a special love for Hermes and Chanel. So you may find lots of Hermes content and unboxings in my videos. And of course, be sure to subscribe and join my little family because there's lots of interesting videos coming up. And of course, in the YouTube algorithm, you will also help if you could like this video. And now before we get started on stitching our Birkins today, I will maybe give you a heads up on how Dani and I came up with this crazy idea. So, well, it all started in one of our chats. And Dani actually showed me a picture of a Birkin with the Fubu Santenore inspired windows on it. I think they call this the Fubu Birkin. And she showed me a pic of a Snow White bag that cost 400,000 Singapore dollars, which is like 300,000 plus US dollar. Surely, of course, that price could already be a down payment of a luxury beach house, madam. And so we laughed it off because, you know, both of us can surely afford this bag. So I casually suggested we do an art and craft version of it. And of course, here we are today. Slowly but surely crafting our own dream Birkin. And do you guys remember the cucumber Birkin on Instagram? Well, ours will definitely not be consumed and can hopefully last us about 20-30 years depending on our own workmanship. Hello Queen! So I find myself at Plaza Singapura and we're here for Spotlight. Yay! Okay, let's get in there to find our materials. Oh my god, there's so many colors. I am really drawn to this one. It's very nice. It's like a V creaky. And I really love this color. Oh my god, mauve. It is quite flimsy and it comes at like $2. There are a bit thicker ones like this. This is huge. It's a bit stiff, but it may be useful. Colors wise, for the thicker one, they're a bit more expensive, a little bit thicker. But colors is kind of limited in terms of colors. So, well, let me think about it, guys. How insane is this? Look at that. Okay, I'll take the whole sheet out. So glittery. Look at this. Beautiful. Oh my god. And can you imagine, like, sparkly. Wow, this is gorgeous. And I'm not sure if this pink has the glitter. It says that there's glitter on it, but is it like left over? I think it is kind of nice, right, this one? Well, I'll think about it. Hi Queen! So let me explain my materials. I have my tools here that I actually got from Spotlight. I've picked up a few colors and I will just give you a rough idea what I'll be doing. Some script materials I got from home, and of course a little bit of tools that I may need that I found from home. Alright, so shall we begin? Overall, what I got from Spotlight that actually cost me a total of $22.50. So that's cheap, right? If I'm gonna make my Birkin out of that will cost me $22.50. Alright, so now I have picked up my Birkin to be a nice bamboo green. Somehow I managed to find this color in like a really stiff kind of felt, which I felt quite useful. It is going to be a Cellier Birkin, so I'm planning to maybe cut it to shape and then just fold it to give it its shape, so that saves me a lot of time, like stitching up more corners. Next up, which is so fun, I actually got this really sparkly felt. Somehow it's my first time actually finding this kind of material. So this is quite interesting. Not sure if you can see it in the light, but it is super gorgeous. This will be somewhat on the windows of the Faubourg Birkin, and we have like window, of course, like the window frame. This is not glitter, but this is like a nice blue sapphire. This will be the window frames of the Birkin. I actually got two. I'm not sure why, but I have my reasons. Probably it's going to be like for the handles and maybe like the flat as well. So I've got two, but this is in the soft felt. And lastly, I have the brown. I think I got this for like the window. It's for the like, you know, that awnings that come out from the window. So I got this brown. I thought it would go quite nicely with these colors. This will be actually also for the sides of the Birkin. And what's next? Of course we need some glue because Missy here is not gonna be stitching it, so I'm just gonna be gluing it. Hopefully it works. And I got this like nice brown thread. I'm not sure what I'm going to be using it for, but well, we will see. I think that's pretty much it. So my Birkin looks quite simple. And of course we've got some rough, I got a magazine. I'm going to be cutting it up first before I actually cut it on the felt. Some markers if I need, scissors, a ruler, a piece of cloth which I was thinking of using it as stuffing for the handle, but we will figure out, and a needle for the threading if I'm going to be stitching. So I will be, well, going to be stitching my Birkin soon. I hope you enjoy, and see you later. Alright, so I'll do a talk through of the steps I go through in making my Birkin. I fold the stiff felt into the proportions I would like my Birkin to be, and then measure out the excess, which I will cut away. But before I do that, I would need to mark it with a pen first before we cut it out. Okay, so we're almost done with the cutting, and I fold it back again just to make sure that the back is in proper proportions, and then we measure out again because now we are going to prepare the sides, which I've planned it in the brown felt. So I measure out on the felt itself and mark it on the felt before I cut. And of course, good things come in pairs, so we have to make two sides right. So I just cut off the other side as well. And so now we have two beautiful pieces for the sides of the Birkin. I prepared the length to be slightly longer because I just want the brown felt to be slightly overlapped, or maybe I just plan to glue it down somehow. I do mark against the inner part of the green felt now. And now we do the testing and the proportions are right, and I'm quite happy with it. Next up, I'm doing the windows, but before drawing directly on the felt, we will test it on one piece of magazine paper first. So I fold the magazine to the size of my supposed Birkin, and we just cut out the excess of the magazine. And now we will try to imagine where the windows will be. And I fold the magazine down to what I have left. Yep. Now I just freehand imagine where I would like my windows to be, and I'll just mark out where it is. Now I try to draw out 3 windows with the help of a ruler. It wasn't easy with the semicircle part on the top, but I have 3 tries here, so I'll just do it freehand, and well, we'll just pick the best of the 3 as we go along. Well, as you can see, I like a little bit of creativity and flexibility with my art and craft, so I don't really kind of measure to the T, but somehow it's a rough estimate and I will try to wing it as I go along. Now the next part, I prepare for the base of the windows, which I recall has another color contrast to that. So I choose brown as the base. I measure out, draw out, and then cut it out first. And of course, we cut out the brown part of the felt and put it against the back and realize that we're a little bit short of brown, so we just fill that part in. Now we trim off the excess on the magazine and we will start with cutting out the windows. So now I picked the best window of the three and I cut that out. I will use that as a template for all the windows. I put it against the back of the white felt and just trace out the outline of the window, and we'll just make 3 copies of that and then we start trimming away. And the window frames are next, and I plan to use the blue sapphire felt for the window frames. I gently trace out the outline of the window frame, but just make it slightly larger than the template I have for the windows. For the window frames, I measure and mark out 3 copies on the blue felt and just make sure that they are a bit larger than the template I have, and now we just trim out the 3 window frames. And voila! So it's beautiful. You can see the window frame slightly peeping out from the window itself. Now I measure and mark onto the blue felt again, and I'm just going to trim off the inner part of the blue so we have the proper window frame. And so snip, 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 we are almost done with the first window frame. Now we match it onto the window itself. And I cut out a segment of the blue felt for the last bit, which is the base of the window frame. And of course, we repeat that 3 times. So now I'm on to the 2 vertical grills that you see in the window, and I just measure out and mark down on the felt itself before we start cutting. And you can see on the top corner how the felt looks like now. It's starting to take shape. Now moving on to the back handles, is a bit more tricky, but I just trace out the sharp tip that we have and finally figured that I should just make the handles a bit thicker to give space for stitching, which I will show you in a short while. So we trim off what I have well prepared on the magazine before we pretend to fold it around to see whether it works. Now I try to fold the magazine as if it was the piece of felt, and it turned out pretty well. I may have to make a few adjustments and just make the handles a little thicker than what I traced. While placing it on the back, it kind of looks quite proportional. So then I was quite confident on tracing it directly on the felt itself. So I trim off the felt of the first handle and am quite excited to see how it will turn out. after this is done. And now I try to fold it to shape and imagine if I had stuffings inside. It turned out to be what I expected, and I was quite happy with the measurements I did prior. Now, using that extra piece of cloth I had on standby as the filling of the handle, I roll it to size just to give myself a rough estimate of the amount of cloth I would need for each handle. And now I prepared the thread for stitching. I chose a brown so it would have a nice contrast. So we go stitching, stitch, 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 and you will see the result soon. And while halfway through the stitching, I suddenly remembered about the filling. So now we just cut out the rough estimate of how much I would need, and we try to thread the filling through the area I've already stitched. So of course, a bit of tugging and pulling, but we got there eventually. Okay, so the handles are done, and of course we repeat another for the other handle. Now we head to making the gaps for the sangles to thread through on the sides of the brown felt. So now all the pieces are ready to be glued together. We start with the base of the bag, which is the brown bits, and so we just put that on. I wasn't sure how much glue I would need, but I was first time quite generous with the amount of glue. Now next up, we try it out with the frame, and I did quite well, except that through the process I realized that the blue was starting to color run. So I had to be very careful with the blue not getting onto the glitter white felt. And of course, while my window is starting to take shape, I also add on the brown awnings. So the awnings had a bit of angle to it. I put some glue and just hold it there for just a few seconds so it would have that nice dip. And of course, making a Birkin is too easy, so I take the complexity level up a notch and try to stitch out the sides of the Birkin. Are you ready for our moment of reveal? Because introducing to you my very own homemade Birkin. And this is my version of the Fobo Birkin. I chose it in green, and I will tell you all the bits and bobs about this little bag. Look how functional this gorgeous homemade Birkin is. I can tote it around, it's super lightweight, it's amazing. And you know what, I can also add on more pockets if I want to. So I will give you more of a detailed review of this bag in a short while. Well, like with all of my unboxings, I will do a little review of this bag, and I will run through with you the details of how I did my Birkin. So as you can tell, I got like a nice green bamboo for the entire main body, and this is in the stiff felt. I actually folded it all the way through, so that actually reduces the amount of stitching that I would need. On the bottom, I have a strip of brown felt, and of course with the windows, see how cute it is. But I actually managed to pick out like the glittery bits for the windows, if you can see that. So it's slightly glittery. I've got the blue sapphire as the window frames. I didn't want to add like the little spots below because it just was too much work, and it was so difficult cutting to the felt. I've got this little brown felt as the awnings, so that's like really nice detail. I wanted to do like a sort of like a rope stitch around here, but pardon me, I'm not really good with art and craft, so I did like a tacking, which I managed to actually stitch both the green and the brown felt together on both sides, so that's nice. Like, it's a nice effect. and this is all runs through down to the base of the bag. I actually glued the base here. And now we've also got the sangles. So the sangles is made of like 2 soft felt. For the hardware, I couldn't think of what to do with it, so I just used the same sparkly white for the supposed hardware. This sangles actually threads through the actual brown bit, and if you can actually tighten the bag, so like this, so you can actually just squish up, which is why I chose like a soft felt for this part. And that's the bag. So this is like the little boo-boo that I made. I am not familiar with the glue I'm using, so a lot came out at one time, and this is the best I could do to salvage the situation. Alright, now flipping back to the front, we also have the handles. I had a bit of trouble with the handles, but I managed to put in some stuffing which gives it a bit of shape. A very nice effect is like, you see how I did the stitching? I'm not sure, but anyway, it looks quite realistic. It looks quite durable. I'm not sure, but here I've also actually stitched the entire handle down to the back, which you can also see like a little bit of that thread and the knot behind there. So that's of course with the clochette, and I managed to pick out like a little key from somewhere, and this key I've actually secured down to the little clochette, which is so lifelike. Oh my god, so cute. Anyway, it's supposed to be as realistic as I can. So that's my little faubourg Birkin. I actually intentionally left out the flap that goes over the back, because you know what, I actually find it quite, I don't actually use it in my actual Birkin, so I think as a tote it's much easier to use. I actually have the actual felt blue piece that I have prepared and cut out, but I am not intending to use it for this bag. Well, so this is my Birkin. I hope you enjoyed it. It's so cute. I'm not sure whether I will really use it, but it's fun, right? I hope you like my design. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's Make Our Birkin collaboration with Dani. I certainly enjoyed the crafting and getting my creative juices going. It certainly wasn't easy making this Birkin in felt pieces. Well, to be honest, I took about 7 hours, full day, Sunday, making this Birkin myself. I had a bit of rest in between because it was giving me a lot of headaches. So I must imagine a lot more stress and hard work going into making the real Birkin in leather. I will definitely be so much more appreciative of an authentic Birkin because it isn't easy making one myself. Well, thank you for watching to the end of this video. Please give a thumbs up if you enjoyed silly fun content like this. And of course, feel free to do a version of your Birkin too. And of course, tag me to it. Now, I really can't wait to see how Dani is going with her dream Birkin. So be sure to subscribe, Queens, and see you next week. Goodbye. Now let's go shopping in this. And what do you think if I bring it into the Hermes boutique? Would they like look at me up and down as if I have lost my marbles?